So growing up, I've always been a big fan of Transformers as a kid. I grew up on the Michael Bay films a lot. I remember watching those extensively throughout my childhood. And then after that, I watched some of the cartoons, mainly Transformers Prime and some other spin-off stuff that I can't remember the name of. The point is that this whole franchise, everything about it is just it means a lot to me, and I wanted to talk about it, but not all at once. So I've decided to separate this whole month into three parts, talking about the movies, the TV shows, and the comic that got me into Transformers. Now, does that mean that it will be just Transformers or that this will be the only thing I'm working at? Not sure. But I will do my best throughout the month to talk about this franchise that I love, starting with the movies. Now, just to get out the way, I won't be talking about the G1 movie. I know that might come off as a letdown, but I think it would be unfair of me to rank something that I haven't seen the TV show to. So just for that reason alone, I won't talk about it. I'll talk about when I watch the TV show, but for now, the video will be just about the movies. With that said, let's get into it. The movie that started it all. This is one of the Transformers films of the 2000s that really got people into the franchise. Not only that, but it's one of the movies that really pushed like CGI on the map. Now, don't get me wrong, I think there were some other movies with special effects and CGI that pushed it, like Lord of the Rings, but I think this film also, I would give credit to pushing that as well. Because the Transformers themselves and how they're shot looked incredible. Even as a kid, I thought when I was looking at the screen, I thought like, wow, how are they able to do that? It looks so real. Now I know I was a kid, I was an idiot, I didn't know any better, but still, the fact remains is that this film looks incredible. Not only that, but they have a good cast of characters played by an all-star lineup of actors, like Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox. They got Bernie Mac in there. They also got, I can't remember his name, but he played a really funny role with the SWAT scene. If you know, you know. And then they have Apturo. He was pretty funny too. He had a weird scene though. Yeah, just an all-star lineup. They also have Tyrese as well, who was in what was it, Fast and Furious. He was also incredible in this. Just an all-star lineup of actors that all played their roles really well, despite the story not being the most. It's definitely not my favorite. I don't know if it's just me, but I never really liked the idea of like the cube. Like, I get why he did it. He wanted to make his own Transformers story. I understand that. But I feel like I would have preferred a more simple story. Like a more original type of vibe. Like, instead of them searching for a cube, they just arrive on Earth and they have to find Energon to survive. And they have to protect the humans. More of like a classic type of story that we got in the G1 cartoon and in Transformers Prime. I feel like that would have been better, but I understand why he did it. So I'm not too mad about it. Overall, this movie's just great. Honestly, it's not the best I've seen. I want to make that very clear. But I think for a Transformers film, and for something that's introducing Transformers to a wider audience, I think this works really well. And for that, I will always appreciate this movie for doing that. And plus, despite how I feel about Michael Bay and his writing choices, he knows how to make a good scene. A fight scene, to be specific. He knows how to make an explosion. He's good at what he does. He's just not as good when it comes to making a story or characters, in my opinion. Or at the very least, right at the tail end of his Transformers run. But we'll get to that later. With that out of the way, we move on to Revenge of the Fallen. Now, Revenge of the Fallen. Okay, sorry, I gotta get comfortable for this. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't hate Revenge of the Fallen. Now, do I think it's better than the original Transformers? Absolutely not. They're not even in the same ballpark. But I can at the very least see some good qualities. They're just not a lot, and they're at the end of the movie. There's just a lot, okay? And the worst part about it is we see the human characters take up a good chunk of the movie. Like a fat chunk of the movie, which I do not like whatsoever. Okay, it is a Transformers film. We came here to see the Transformers. We came here to see Optimus Prime. We came to see Bumblebee. We came to see all these different Transformers. No offense to Sam Witwicky and the rest of his jolly bunch of freaks and weirdos, but I don't want to see that shit. And the Transformers that we do get introduced to, that do get good screen time, they all suck. They all suck. And if I'm being honest, I wished I could melt their bodies down into iron bars, metal bars, and sell them at a pawn shop. Especially that little fuck, that little perverted robot asshole. I very much wish I could melt him down 10 times over. Because God, I hate that little shit. And I will never let them forget this, but I'm under the enemy scrotum. If you know, you know. Point is that this film, and there's also the human characters, there's some really weird shit. It's very sexual for something that's PG-13. I don't know why, but for some reason these movies have like this weird, like, they make like these weird sexual jokes, and like it's, I don't know how to describe it. It just feels weird. Point is, it's just such a mess. The only good part of the film is unfortunately the end, which admittedly has a very dope fight scene. Overall, not very good. I would not recommend watching it twice over. I would suggest watching it in full the first time and then just watching clips. Trust me, you're not missing out on this film. You're just not. It's not on the second watch, at least. Hell no. It's unfortunate because the first film was so great, and then the second one is kind of shit. Mostly shit. It's half and half, really, honestly. With that out the way, we move on to Transformers 3 Dark Side of the Moon. Now, Dark Side of the Moon. Okay. Better than the second one. Unfortunately, Megan Fox isn't in the film. Apparently there was like some back and forth between her and Michael Bay, and someone else got involved, and then she was out of the film. Then she got replaced by this Victoria's Secret model who unfortunately doesn't really know how to act, so she was kind of shit in the film. And it's bad because she was the most compelling love interest and the most compelling storyline in this trilogy, especially with Shia LaBeouf's character. So the fact that she was gone just blew that out the water. That just went down the toilet. Overall, though, film wasn't that bad. It's definitely a culmination of the last two films. It is something that I would definitely appreciate after like watching it, you know? It had some of the best fight scenes in the entire trilogy. There's still some of that weird, like, kind of like sexual, like, deviancy, but it's definitely toned down, especially more so here in the second film, because God, that's weird. Point is, fight scenes were dope. The ending of the movie was dope. It was just a good ending to a trilogy. And had Michael Bay not made two of the shittiest films I have ever seen, this genuinely would have went down as one of the best trilogies in all of film. Actually, I don't know if I'd say that. It would have been one of the better ones, for sure. With that being said, we unfortunately have to go over Transformers Age of Extinction. Your shit. Oh boy. Okay. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Okay. He made another film. I don't know why. He should have just ended it with the third one, but whatever. What I like, the character designs. I liked how they introduced Dinobots. I think out of all of the films, I think I like the designs in this one the most. The main villain looked cool. The character itself is not cool, but he looked kind of cool. Also, they did something interesting with Optimus Prime too. Turned him into kind of like a knightly figure. Fits well into Optimus Prime. Always like give him some props for that. Despite that though, this movie fucking sucks. It's bad, okay? I'm sorry. The characters are bad. There's this weird plot point where the daughter of the main character is in a relationship with this 20-year-old dude, and she's a minor. There's this one inventor who's an idiot. There's like, okay, so there's like this. I'm gonna go over this now. There's like this plot point with the inventor where he's trying to like make his own Transformers. They found a way to, make their own like Transformers. And so what he does is he wants to make like this figurehead. He wants to make like his own Optimus Prime. So you know what he does? Uploads Megatron's head into his computer. Uses that as a blueprint to help him create Optimus Prime. Megatron. The same dude who in the past 3 films killed God knows how many people and almost destroyed the world. Twice. Okay? Twice. And you're telling me that despite all of that, you upload him into your computers and instead of just scrapping him? Bro. The most dumbass, dog. What? I'm an idiot sometimes, but even I wouldn't do that shit. What the hell, man? Oh my god. And then, bro, Dinobots were kind of cool though. I have to say they looked pretty fire in this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kind of wish I had a figure of one of them, honestly. But yeah, you can watch it if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then we move on to Transformers Last Night, which I won't speak too highly on. This won't take long. It's basically like the last film, only they blunder a possible Nemesis Prime storyline, which would have been pretty cool, but they had to ruin that shit. Yeah, there's not much to talk about, at least nothing good with these 2 films. And honestly, I don't want to waste your time with this shit, because it's like, it just sucks. It sucks, and I don't want people who are getting into Transformers to watch this shit. I really don't. Do yourselves a favor, just watch the original trilogy, but do not watch these 2 films. They suck. I don't care what nobody says. The only good thing about The Last Night was that old dude. That old dude had some great energy throughout the film, but other than him, no, get him out. Nope, hate it. Hate every second of it. Oh my god, okay. Oh man. Oh boy. Yeah. I pray that this next film will hopefully, change y'all's mind and hopefully make it so that you get into Transformers. You got the touch. You got the power. So we finally have a good movie, guys. It only took 2 shitty ones, but we finally did it. Bumblebee. Now, Bumblebee is great in a whole host of different reasons why. For one, the characters. I love the characters in this movie. The characters in this movie are great. Haley Steinfeld does such a good job as the main character. They're lovable, they're sweet, kind, and most importantly, they are relatable. They're not unhinged. They're not overly sexual for some reason. They're not weirdos. They're actually, I can see myself in their shoes. They feel like normal people, and I love them to death. And the first few minutes of this movie were incredible. If there was a movie with just that CGI, that style, I genuinely believe we would have had one of the best Transformers films of all time. Easily up there with the best of the best, in my opinion. Okay? With that out the way, though, we pick up with Bumblebee, sent off to Earth. And his story is kind of it's a con that appears in the movie, but I'll get to that later. Overall, the story is great. I love the designs. I love the main villain, or villains, I should say. And there's the human plotline is so freaking good. It is not overdone. It's not overly complicated. It's not this huge thing. It's actually pretty. It's actually pretty self-contained, believe it or not, if you can believe that. But this film just feels incredible. Okay, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's just amazing. I don't know how else to describe it. It just has that old nostalgia feel that I love. Not all the time, which again I'll get into later. But yeah, the designs, the storytelling, just the feel of the movie, it feels good. It feels like a family film. Condensed down to be a Transformers film, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm getting ahead of myself. This film just is good. That anyone trying to get into Transformers can watch. The only thing I'll say is that there's maybe a little too much nostalgia in it. It kind of borrows from a lot of movies, like this one YouTuber who I forgot the name of said. Shout out to him, by the way. He's the one who actually inspired me to make this video and two videos that I'm going to make after this one. But yeah, just if you can, watch Bumblebee. It's really good. I absolutely love it, and I think you'll love it too. With that being said, we move on to Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Yep, and scratch everything that I just said, because this film sucks. Okay, here's the deal, right? Rise of the Beasts it's how do I put this? I'm gonna go into human characters. Human characters aren't that bad. They're not as unhinged, but the problem is that the thing that I praise Bumblebee for, where they're like normal human characters, they have good personalities without it feeling like the original trilogy. And after that, is that they're normal in here, but they're just not that interesting. And I hate to say that because I think the actors did a fairly decent job with what they were given. It's just unfortunately they don't pay it off very well. And the Transformers in this film, despite them having some pretty good designs, except for like the Beast Formers, or whatever you want to call them, they had some really good designs. It's just unfortunately I wasn't really interested. I think out of all of the Optimus Primes that we've gotten, this one's the least interesting version of him. Again, it's unfortunate, but it needs to be said. Overall, this film, it's mid. Very, very mid. And nothing can be done about it, unfortunately. Which sucks, because it comes off of a really good movie, too. But I can't lie to you guys and say that it's good, so I would say probably skip this one, if I'm being honest. But if you really want to give it a shot, maybe watch, like, clips of it. Besides that, though, the movie is not that great, and it's a very easy skip in this franchise, unfortunately. With that being said, we move on to Transformers 1.
We were brothers once. You left me no choice, brother.
Which, holy shit, this film is good. Okay. Despite the shit job Paramount did with promoting it, thankfully it's really freaking good. Okay? It is really good. It does something I've never seen before, and that delves deep into the origin of Cybertron, but not just Cybertron, but also in the friendship between Optimus and Megatron. I have never seen any media, besides like a few, that delves deep into their friendship like this one before. There have been some moments in the cartoons, I believe, and even in the movies, but never like this before. And the designs are so unique. The transformations, too, the way they are able to incorporate into the fight scenes is just, it's beautiful, man. It's something I haven't seen done before like this ever. And I have to give credit to the voice actors, too, and especially Chris Hemsworth. Now, I'm not familiar with his voice acting. I know that he does a pretty good job in terms of his live action roles. I've never heard him voice act before. Or maybe I have and I just never remember it. But he does a fantastic job in this film. I was not familiar with this guy's game. He does an incredible job of playing an Optimus Prime, especially a young Optimus Prime. So for that reason alone, he deserves all the credit in the world, along with the other voice actors too. They all did such a fantastic job. The actor who plays Atlanta also voices Megatron in this movie, which is fantastic. I love his portrayal of Megatron. The rest of the side cast is incredible. The storyline is surprisingly dark for an animated movie like this. But again, it's so well done. I just wish they did a better job of. Yeah, they just did such an incredible job here. And I would really recommend watching this film. It's a damn shame what Paramount did to this movie. It should have gotten way more attention. It should have gotten way more love than it did. We should have had a trilogy. But thankfully, at least it has enough attention to garner some level of support. It's a shame what Paramount did. It really is a shame. But yeah, that's all the movies that I think I've covered. Besides the G11, which I'll talk about when I talk about the cartoons and the TV shows. But yeah, man, I would really, despite the ups and downs this franchise has, I do think there are some really good movies in this trilogy. So if you can, try to check out some of them, especially Transformers 1, because I think out of all of them, it's probably the best one by far. Easily one of my favorites, at least. So with that being said, that is all the Transformers films reviewed. Please tune in for more, and see you when I review the TV shows.